Jujur geng, di sini saya itu iri. Kenapa Presiden Cina Xi Jinping itu lebih memilih bergabung dengan Malaysia, lebih memilih Malaysia. Apakah Indonesia ini sudah tak boleh dipercaya lagi dengan kekayaan sumber daya alam dan perdagangan kita? Hai, halo geng. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Berjumpa kembali dengan saya, Zainal Story. Sebelum video ini saya mulai, gimana kabarnya kalian semua? Semoga semua yang menonton video ini baik-baik saja, dimurahkan rezekinya, selalu berpikiran yang positif dan dijauhkan dari mara bahaya oleh Tuhan yang Maha Esa. Jujur geng, tadi itu saya dikirimin video oleh salah satu follower saya, dan saya tengok takjubnya, saya itu udah merasa iri geng. Indonesia ini kurang apa? Kekayaan Indonesia ini kurang macam mana geng? Apa kita ini udah tak boleh dipercaya lagi? Sampai-sampai presiden dari Cina Xi Jinping itu lebih memilih menjalin hubungan perdagangan dengan Malaysia. Yang Malaysia itu negaranya kecil aja geng. Saya pun juga penasaran, jujur saya pun juga belum tengok video ini, dan ini diulas oleh Tan Sri Rafizah Aziz. Nah, ini pastinya keren nih geng. Dan juga apa alasannya kenapa tak memilih ke negara kita, Indonesia Raya. Oke, nggak usah berlama-lama, langsung kita simak saja videonya.
Nampaknya Presiden China Xi Jinping telah buat tour Asia Tenggara, start dari Vietnam singgah Malaysia, lepas tu Kemboja. Ini tour diplomatik high level. ASEAN jadi sasaran. Vietnam, Malaysia, Kemboja bukan je jiran sebelah rumah, tapi lubuk pembuatan, laluan dagangan dan juga ahli penting dalam RCEP. So, lah kalau masa Presiden China ni datang, ada pengumuman projek-projek mega lah, pelaburan kilang lah, ataupun package infrastruktur lah. Tapi untuk Malaysia kalau kita main kad ni dengan betul, ni boleh jadi peluang emas tau. Sektor E&E, Electric and Electronics, pelabuhan, pelancongan, semua boleh naik tau.
Every foreigner left China. Would you know that I was the first foreigner to come in? Everybody said, everybody getting out, you're coming in? With 40 people? I said, yeah, it's planned. How was I to know it was planned and unmanned? Anyway, I'm not there to interfere into their internal affairs. We're there to do business. As a result, Malaysia, not me lah, Malaysia was treated with that kind of respect.
Yeah.
I'm talking just now about us thinking about our own country. I would like to recall what happened when I was when we were trying to promote ASEAN when we first started ASEAN Free Trade Area. So I was tasked to lead a delegation of 9 ministers from ASEAN to go to Japan, because Japan was the biggest investor outbound, those days. So we wanted them to come to ASEAN. So I went to Tokyo, met the high-level Skydendron, there's the highest level of business people there. To my great horror, I was the only one talking ASEAN. My other colleagues was talking about his own country. There were no her, I was the only her. His own country. And the chief of Skydendron president asked me, Minister, why is it that your colleagues are only talking about their own country? How is it that they're not even mentioning ASEAN? So the next meeting I mentioned, this is not the way to go. This is an ASEAN delegation. Don't leave it to me to talk about ASEAN. You must also tell the Japanese, come to Myanmar, come to Laos, put your base there, your production base there, because we have the workforce. Our labor is cheaper than Singapore. In other words, we won't take that kind of investment. Garments industry, we're no longer competitive, so you should, but you're not even marketing it in the context of ASEAN. If we get talking about Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, they say, what do we have there? But if you see it, come to Myanmar, come to Laos, it can be the base of the industries that Malaysia cannot host anymore because they're no longer competitive. Of course, Singapore don't talk. Yeah? So then you see, the people see ASEAN, okay, we don't have to go out of ASEAN. We still retain the ASEAN footprint, but expanding in Myanmar, Laos and Vietnam. That was my worst lesson ever about not thinking ASEAN. I hope everybody now is thinking ASEAN. It's no point having 1.2 billion China, let's say 20 years ago. It's the same Chinese, 104 billion, but nobody talk about them being market, right? No income. They started opening up the economy. Then you have people with disposable income. Now it is the market of the world. All happened in less than 20 years. I went to China before, just after Mao Zedong died. And I've been going to China, and you can imagine the evolution of China is unbelievable. From everybody wearing grey and blue, including the ladies, they phased out into wearing pink ribbons, still with the Mao jackets, and into what you see today. Why can't we do that in ASEAN? But we have to have planning, proper planning, where domestic planning is dovetailed with ASEAN planning, if we are really serious about the ASEAN people. Okay?
But who makes up this ASEAN Secretariat?
Who?
Who makes up the ASEAN Secretariat?
Well, at the moment, I tell you what, ASEAN used to always end every meeting of every department or ministry with, the meeting was conducted in the most cordial and friendly manner. That cordial and friendly. Until I came to the picture, because we had been arguing for days, and I said, excuse me, this report of this meeting shall no longer from now on have this stupid paragraph that says spirit of cordiality and friendship and whatnot. Let's not kid ourselves. We have outstanding problems that we cannot. So let's be realistic. And from that day onwards, you find the minister's report. I don't know if they've started it again. No more cordiality talk. Be realistic. If you cannot be cordial about it, shout. I mean, please, no time. No time just to, okay, tak apa-apa. Not me lah. So we got things done. I couldn't care less. If I was in the chair, I'll just tell off the Europeans. They didn't want Myanmar to be in the European ASEAN because of Myanmar's problems with democracy. And I tell them, okay, you don't want press conference meeting? I will announce to the world the European Union is being political. We are in an economic forum and you are being political. Would you like me to announce that as the chair of the meeting? And of course, the European Commissioner could not answer. Think about it. Now, I told him, think about it. I have no hesitation telling the world. We united in ASEAN. We do not quibble over Myanmar's democracy policies when we are discussing economics. We're discussing business. It's in the same breath as the whole world looking down on China. When China had all these democracy problems after Tiananmen, you remember? Every foreigner left China. Would you know that I was the first foreigner to come in? Everybody said, everybody getting out, you're coming in with 40 people? I said, yeah, it's planned. How was I to know it was Tiananmen? Anyway, I'm not there to interfere into their internal affairs. We're there to do business. As a result, Malaysia, not me lah, Malaysia was treated with that kind of respect because we didn't interfere. Say, you want to do what you like. That's no good, but not for me to say. We want to look at economic opportunities. Then China opened up its market. The same idiots, sorry my language, who were chastising the Chinese for a lack of democracy, human rights, came groveling to the Chinese for a piece of the Chinese pie. Did you realize that? The same guys who were belittling the Chinese for lack of democracy were waiting in line to shake their hands. Why? The market of China. See, all it takes is China change a policy into what they call it partial market economy. Now it's full market economy lah. All it takes is that. And the same guy who was bad-mouthing the Chinese, groveling. I use this in Europe and America. You grovel to them. You forgot about what you were talking about in terms of democracy. So, we in ASEAN, we prefer not to mix up things, Be realistic.
Macam itulah geng politik ke Malaysia dan macam mana cara mengelolanya. Di sini saya tak berani berkomentar banyak-banyak lah ya, karena ini tentang politiknya Malaysia, tak ada sangkut pautnya dengan Indonesia. Kita hanya boleh belajar dan boleh meniru apabila yang positif kita ambil, yang buruk kita buang. Nah, di situ juga membahas tentang yang dulunya Cina itu direndahkan berbagai negara ASEAN, tapi kini banyak ataupun ramai yang menyanjungi negara Cina karena negara Cina berjaya dalam dunia perniagaan ataupun sektor perdagangan. Nah, kenapa Indonesia itu ditinggalkan? Mungkin ada alasan-alasan tertentu. Kita tengok aja videonya.
Halo friend, kembali lagi di Amanda Channel. Nah, ini ringgit berjaya. Ini Malaysia akan menjamu Xi Jinping ya dari Tiongkok mulai tanggal 15 April mendatang. Nah, pertanyaannya kenapa tidak ke Indonesia? Ya nggak tahu. Mungkin Malaysia mungkin lebih menjanjikan mungkin ya. Ente mungkin punya alasan lain bisa tulis di kolom komentar ya kan. Notabene kan sebenarnya Cina dan Indonesia kan sama-sama anggota BRICS. Kenapa lebih ke Malaysia gitu ya? Ente boleh tambahkan. Kira-kira analoginya atau cocok loginya apa kira-kira seperti itu. Jadi pemerintah Malaysia mengumumkan pada hari Rabu tanggal 9 April akan menjamu Presiden Xi Jinping untuk kunjungan 3 hari minggu depan karena kedua negara telah bergulat dengan tarif yang dikenakan oleh Amerika Serikat. Kunjungan kenegaraan akan berlangsung dari 15 hingga 17 April ya, kata Menteri Komunikasi Fahmi Fadzil ya. Jadi Pak Tokmat ini nanti akan menjamu Presiden Xi Jinping. Tentunya tambah berjaya ringgitnya Pak Ji gitu. Para menteri kabinet telah diberitahu bahwa kunjungan ini tidak hanya diantisipasi tetapi merupakan bagian dari upaya pemerintah untuk melihat hubungan perdagangan yang lebih baik dengan berbagai negara termasuk China. Kunjungan Xi Jinping menandai lawatan pertamanya ke Malaysia sejak Perdana Menteri Anwar Ibrahim menjabat. Keduanya bertemu di Beijing November lalu dan Presiden China dilaporkan juga mengunjungi Vietnam dan Kamboja sebagai bagian dari lawatan di kawasan tersebut ya. Tidak ada ke Indonesia, friend. Padahal Cina ini investasinya besar di Indonesia. Ketika dari Presiden Amerika Serikat Donald Trump mengguncang pasar global, Cina bergerak untuk memperkuat pijakan ekonomi dan diplomatiknya di kawasan tersebut. Cina pesaing ekonomi utama Washington, tetapi juga mitra dagang utama, adalah yang paling terpukul dengan tarif yang dikenakan pada produk-produknya sekarang yang mencapai 104%. Dan Malaysia, ekonomi terbesar ketiga di Asia Tenggara, dikenakan tarif yang lebih rendah sebesar 24%, meskipun negara-negara lain dalam blok ASEAN yang beranggotakan 10 orang mengalami beberapa pungutan yang lebih ketat. Sementara China telah membalas Washington dengan tindakannya sendiri. Pemerintah Asia Tenggara telah memilih jalan dialog. Malaysia yang tahun ini menjadi ketua bergilir blok regional ASEAN akan menjadi tuan rumah pertemuan khusus para menteri ekonomi ASEAN pada hari Kamis untuk membahas cara menanggapi tarif Donald Trump ya. Dan Perdana Menteri Malaysia Anwar Ibrahim pada hari Senin menyerukan negara-negara Asia Tenggara untuk berdiri teguh bersama seperti itu biar pokoknya ringgit berjaya seperti itu. Gimana analisa ente terkait kunjungan Xi Jinping ini ya? Ini luar biasa loh, jarang-jarang loh Xi Jinping mau lawatan ke negara orang ya. Nah, ini tadi ya pembahasan admin seputar info singkat jelas padat di mana usut punya usut Xi Jinping akan mengunjungi Malaysia pada 15 hingga 17 April.
Yang kemarin itu netizen Konoha berkuar-kuar begitu bangganya Indonesia bergabung dengan BRICS, negara BRICS ya kan. Cina itu pun juga bergabung dengan BRICS. Kita sama-sama menjadi negara BRICS. Tapi kenapa Cina itu bukan memilih Indonesia untuk bergabung menjalin perdagangannya atau bisnisnya? Kenapa lebih memilih Malaysia? Dan ini membuat Malaysia itu semakin berjaya. Macam mana dengan nasib kita? Yang awalnya hanya berkuar-kuar, menyombongkan sana sini, bahkan merendahkan Indonesia. Sesuai dengan adanya fakta macam ini, apa pandangan korang? Coba tulis di kolom komentar, nanti kita boleh diskusikan bersama-sama. Sekian, terima kasih dari saya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye-bye.